Perfect. So tomorrow we have we have retail sales, and then on Tuesday we're going to be having CPI for the Canadian dollar, but we don't have any high impact news for US dollar, because if you're trading the dollar pairs, especially the US dollar pairs, you also need to consider what do we have in the economic calendar that will help us push. Kindly make sure once you're in this meeting, you have your mic muted. Kindly make sure. Tafadhali ukiingia mkutano, mute yourself or I'll remove you. Kindly. Just simple etiquette. Kindly make sure your mic is muted so that we don't have a distraction. All right. So I was saying this. So for this week, tomorrow Monday we have retail sales. Tuesday we have a CPI for the Canadian dollar around the New York session, and then on Wednesday we shall be having 4MC. Wow, hey, these are very important news that we need to really be keen with. It will give us some nice projection of what we expect from the dollar. I'll be so keen on this. It will give us clarity on where we're heading in terms of the dollar performance. Then on Thursday, we're going to have a GDP for the New Zealand dollar. We'll be having an employment rate for the Australian dollar. Then a lot of news on CHF. And then we shall also be having a official bank rate for the pound during the New York session on Thursday. And then later on, we're going to be wrapping up our day with card. We'll be having a speech for the Bank of Canada. That is on Thursday at 7 p.m. in the evening. Then on Friday, we end our week with news on Canadian dollar. That is the retail sales at 3:30 p.m. So that's what we have on our economic calendar from the fundamental update. Now, when you come to the technical part of our chart, mine is very simple, guys. Today I'm not going to complicate anything. I just want to give you a simple way on how you look for weekly swings. I've been away over the weekend. That's why I haven't had time to sit on the chart. But I believe if I go through this, I'll be able to give out some direction and also give out some idea of what you anticipate. So, number one, when you look at the dollar index, okay, when you look at the dollar index, from the weekly time frame, you can clearly see okay, I can remove all these things. From the weekly time frame, you can clearly see something that has happened. The dollar had formed, we have had a crazy bearish momentum, and this momentum has been confirmed once price closed below this area, leaving our highest price level at 110, around 110, 110. You realize that? Kindly make sure you're in the meeting, you mute yourself. Felix, mute your mic, kindly. If you want to speak up, just raise up your hand or use the chat section so that I can allow you to talk. I think I won't repeat on that. If you go on like this, I'll just remove you. All right. So, number one, when you look at the dollar, structure-wise, without considering the fundamental aspect, price from the highest price level we've had is 110.299. Then the market has shown us traces of bearish momentum. This guy called Felix Askima. Now let me show you how we do it. Yes, sir. Tell people they don't listen. You just do what is supposed to be done. Just a minute. Yes. Okay. So can't keep on telling someone the same thing. So we have these. We have the highest price at 110.299, and then when you look at this structure, price has massively broken this area of around 105, let's say around 105, 105.428. And then price has left liquidation that is supposed to be consumed technically. All right, so these are, for me, these I call them two double areas of liquidity. The first one, I think it has done liquidation. The second area is this area, which is more of like a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. Sorry, I mean bearish candlestick pattern. Are we guys following? You know, see, come on, man, mute mic. Are we guys following? All right. So now, from the weekly perspective, once I see these, the last area that I anticipate price to go up to probably is here. This will be I'm anticipating the dollar to continue pushing to the downside because again, at this particular area, we have liquidity engineering and we have a structure that has left a liquidity candlestick imbalance. That simply means I anticipate price to keep on pushing. Now, if I come to 4 hours chart, if I come to the 4 hours chart, before we drop down, because on weekly time frame, you can see this structure imewachwa. Unaona hii hapa juu. So that simply means before maybe the market goes on, it might pull back, take the liquidity, and then continue pushing to the downside. So you can clearly see it on 4 hours being confirmed. So on 4 hours, I need to see, I'm anticipating probably price to come back to this structure. And then we will continue. I'm anticipating to see price coming all the way. Then we'll continue going down. That is what I'm looking into for the dollar. All right. So technically, but as much as the week goes on, we need to keenly observe what is happening in terms of transaction and as well as the fundamentals data release. So that is my view, the dollar. If you check also actually in the daily time frame, price came to this zone. The reason I we're having this reaction is because of this liquidity area, right? So probably you might have a reaction, let's come back, fill, do the rebalancing of price, and then maybe the market comes to the extreme point of 100, right? That is on the dollar. Now, when you look at a pair like, you can look at a few pairs like GBPUSD, EURJPY. Just a minute. When you look at pairs like GBPUSD, I like viewing my charts from monthly and daily time frame. I want to give you a secret on what you're supposed to consider when the week is starting, especially for you to get very good setups for some specific pairs. So what happens? Wow. So if when you want to look for weekly swings, weekly midterm swings, what you need to do, when you want to look for weekly midterm swings, what you need to do is you need to look for a structure that looks like this. For example, you can use 4 hours or you can use a daily time frame. If you ever see a shift, so long as you know the direction of the market from higher time frame, if you see a shift, you should look for an area of liquidity based on formation. You should look for an area of liquidity where the shift was formed, and then you should target to get your entries either from that region or buys or sells, depending on the case of the direction of the pair. So if you look at GBPUSD initially, we've had okay. The other week, we were anticipating to push all the way further up to 1.30548 before we continue selling. So if you check on, I can do a comparison on weekly time frame. If you look at weekly time frame, we have this area. We have these areas, an area of liquidity. Let me show you. You have these areas, an area of liquidity, and at the top here, this candlestick. If you go to the monthly time frame, E area, it's a weak overlap, which forms a formation on the daily time frame, whereby you're expecting price to come and do liquidity engineering. I mean, to come and consume price at liquidity engineering and continue dropping. So that's why from the other week, if you were in our sessions when you were doing our breakdown, we were focusing so much on looking for buys to go all the way to the upside, then we will continue selling. And it is actually, that is the same case scenario when you look at the dollar, what is happening. So If you check on the daily time frame, we clearly have this particular area as our area of liquidity. If you do refinement, there's liquidity engineering. That's why we have the two green line, which represent our area of interest, or rather an area where we need to look for sales. So in short, I'll summarize by saying this: for GBPUSD, I anticipate for price to fully come out to this level before I continue looking for sales. Right? Expect price to come to this level before I continue to look for sales. Remember, we always trade in a probability market. The most important thing is to understand the directional bias so that you know where to take short-term trades and when to ride on the impulsive moves, right? I can see guys are following. Wow, that's amazing. So now, based on the 4-hour structure, based on the 4-hour structure, you can clearly see at this region, price is trying to, there's not much momentum. Price in Kama, it's been struggling around this area. So if the market comes down, I'll be interested to buy from this, and I'll be targeting the 1.30337. Actually, this is my ideas about GBPUSD. So if the market opens tomorrow and comes back, I'll be interested to buy from this zone. Then if the market goes up, I'll be interested to sell from this zone. And this actually might be a long-term kind of trade to hold. Might be a long-term, I mean a trade that can give us more than 300 pips. I think we could even come up to this area. So if, it's all about understanding what is happening. If you look at this particular zone, if you go back to monthly time frame, una realize hapa tuko na weak overlap. I'm talking about this area. Let me try to highlight it. We have weak overlaps. We have weak overlaps. So that's why price is reacting here. And where we have weak overlaps on higher time frame, it's an area of liquidity. So if this zone won't be strong enough to hold the price, then I'm going to for liquidity type 5 at this area, extreme area. I'll be interested to look for my entries on lower time frame, of course with better time frame coordination. Daily nitakuwa na kufanya refinement kwa hizo nitafute entry ya kusell. That is in terms of some long-term kind of trading opportunity. And then the extreme point I expect consumption need the next level buy kwa. So in short, what I'm trying to say, once the market opens for this coming week, I'll be looking for buys from that zone that I've shown you, then sells from that zone. Are we clear on that, guys? Are we together? So that is on GBPUSD. Look at a pair like EURJPY. Maybe I can look at EURUSD, and then I'll look at EURJPY. Now, if you look at EURUSD, in fact, it's also giving a similar kind of scenario on the monthly time frame. Price is at an area where we had a weak overlap, which is an area of liquidity. I'm talking about this particular area, particular zone. Unaona hapa kuna weak overlap. So and that's why ukiangalia monthly time frame price imekuja kureactia wapi hapo. So if you go to the lower time frame, which is daily time frame, I mean the first constant, I mean situational time frame, you realize price imekuja hapo ikatap. That's why the other week, I think it was on Wednesday, we got this setup. So at this area, we have a type of liquidity called type 1. It's more of the normal way we call it in transaction. This is a bearish engulfing candlestick. It signifies sellers seated at this zone, which means there's some crazy momentum of selling orders E level hapa. Understand? Now, if you look at it, initially price came and traded above that area. So if you had the first sales basing on lower time frame, in liquidity engineering probably could have been taken out. So once this was taken out, for me, what I did, I had to come, because I still believe that this was a strong area of liquidity. I had to come lower to 1 hour and look for reasons or possible areas of interest. Actually, these are the last setup we had on EURUSD. So up at you, this was my highest point, rather I could call it furthermost deviation. And then inside this area, I had a structure which was seen clearly on 15 minutes where I have a weak overlap. If I go to 15 minutes, there was some sort of a formation which signifies an area of liquidity. When you're looking for a setup and you're having two possible areas of interest, go to the most extreme point. So there was this like a structure that gave me reasons to look for sales. And the stop loss, I think, was around 6.6 pips. For the normal people, okay, the way the other people trade, they could have placed their stop loss above who could you? Like 20 pips, matter 15, and then wafanya nini? Like take profit up. Still, that is an RR of 1 to 4. But as far as I'm concerned, as much for me, how I trade, I look for a trade. The things I consider, that's why I had this stop loss, especially for a pair like Euro USD. It doesn't have, if you have a good broker that you're trading with, you can, this is a very nice setup that you could have taken. It gave us an RR of around 1 to 14. So now for Euro USD this coming week, I'm anticipating to have more. Hold on. My internet is hanging. Just a minute. Sorry. So on Euro USD, I'm anticipating to probably there is also an important zone that we don't need to ignore in terms of liquidity. But you understand very well, guys, when you're looking at higher time frame, you need to consider the aspect of, if for example you're looking for monthly time frame, before anything happen on monthly, it has to start with daily time frame. Before anything happens on the daily time frame, it has to start with 1 hour. Before anything happens on 1 hour, it has to start with minutes. So if you understand that procedure or the liquidation process, it becomes easier for you to know which is a short-term opportunity and which is a long-term opportunity. So if also this zone doesn't hold, because if this area holds, then you're gonna be coming all the way to this downside huku chini. But if this zone doesn't hold, just know that once price breaks this area, there's hidden liquidity at around 1.09855. So ndio zone nitakuwa interested nayo pia ya kutafuta more sales. But if price doesn't hold and bulls gets higher momentum, then this will be my best level to look for long-term sales, right? So tomorrow during the London session, we'll be doing some morning session so that we can get trades for intraday. Whatever, we'll be looking for setups in the morning once the market opens. So this is just an overview or an idea of what you anticipate. So hii ni zone tunafaa to consider, hii zone tunafaa consider kwa sababu ya easy minor liquidity. God will. Guys, let's learn to listen. Just mute your mic. So on daily time frame, we have, I feel like these zones have been done self-free consumption. So huku chini tuko na imbalances na kuna hii area ya hapa chini. So kama momentum ya sellers kama from this area, show you. You see this level, guys, you need to understand how to deal with structure. If price will sell from here, then I'm expecting it's probably either this is what will happen, itaendelea kusell mpaka hapa, ikuje ifanye full consumption, ichukue your hidden liquidity, ikuje huku chini. Understand? Or, but now when we do the morning session, I'll be able to get clear setups. Or rather, once price comes down, it will come here, react, then come all the way, and then we enter the next liquidity ambayo iko huko juu. So in short, for Euro USD, because if you look at the dollar, we're expecting some pullback in terms of pushing up before it goes down. So it's by whatever happens there, that simply means we're gonna be selling the dollar. I mean, when the dollar will be pushing up in terms of the pullback before it continue to sell, the opposite of that will be happening here. So the market will sell, and then once it consumes liquidity at this area or this structure, then we'll be going to the next area of liquidity, of course, with better time frame alignment. So that is on Euro USD. I can look at EURJPY. Then I'll look at, I'll finalize with gold and we'll end our meeting there. So I look at EURJPY. Perfect. So there's this, let me start with the monthly time frame. So tukiangalia kwa the monthly structure, when you look at the monthly structure, guys, clearly what you can see, I want you to look at this keenly. This candlestick here, this area, you see this one, and this, it's an area of liquidity on the monthly time frame. Price came and did a consumption. The first liquidation happened here. Market came in, this candlestick consumed, and then the moment price pushed up massively, the market came back inside to consume this area. So the last area ambayo tumewachiwa sorry, ni hii week na naona imefanya consumption. So I'm anticipating to be bullish for EURJPY for some time. So the thing is, what are the best areas to buy from? So if you look at if you look at the weekly time frame, on the weekly time frame, first of all, I can see there's a shift point somewhere here. There's a shift point here. I think I need to use even the daily time frame. So nikiangalia kwa daily time frame, hiyo shift na confirmiwa kwa weekly. I can clearly see that price traded above this area. That is an indication that the market will be pushing up further or further to the upside. So the shift point. So anytime you have a shift point, you need to understand how do you coordinate time frames on the constant time frame with the situational time frame, and then you look at strong areas of liquidity. So nikitumia daily time frame, I don't have we consider this formation price has retested this structure, and that's why I had this entry based on flip zone that we got an RR of around 1 to, I think it was around 1 to 10 plus. We had around 209 pips collected. Those guys who took these setups. So unapata sasa the last area that I'm left with, the last area that I'm left with. So the last area we have that we need to consider is huku chini, because we have a type of liquidity. So now on the daily time frame, this zone has been retested. So because we have these overlaps here, then huku chini tuko na type of liquidity, and also you have liquidity engineer. That's why I had a refinement. I'm expecting the moment price will come down here, I'll be doing what? Sorry for that, guys. So I was saying this for EURJPY, what you are considering right now in terms of swinging, from a monthly perspective, we are very bullish, right? So we can use daily time frame to understand the structure and understand zones of liquidity. So utapata yeah, go to the shelf. So ukiangalia vizuri sana, we have a type 3 liquidity hapa chini, which I saw it very well on 4 hours time frame. So in short, for EURJPY, for long-term swings, I'll be anticipating for price to come here and then ingi. Guys, one of the things that really contributes to success in trading is patience. I rather stay 1 week without a trade, but get a trade that will give me rewards that can sustain me for the next 3 months. The problem is you don't need to trade just because you want to trade every day. The moment you learn that every day is not a trading day, every week is not a trading week, then you're done. You'll be successful. Because if you cannot see a clear setup based on the strategy that you use or based on the alignment of the factors that you consider in the market, then you don't need to force trades. Are we guys following? I've been talking here for almost 40 minutes. So let me see on the chat section if you guys are following, if you're learning, if you're together before niendelee mbele na other pairs. I need to see more than 25 comments or feedback so that I know we are together because you are 27 people in this meeting. I need to know if you guys are following, if we are relating and resonating together, so that I'm not here making a lot of noise and guys are not even listening. I need to see more than 25 reactions or rather comments. Are we guys all like I can see Kenneth, Timothy is there, Lenny, FX region, Esther, John. I didn't say you unmute yourself. I just said just comment on the chat section. I can see Julius, Mr. Philemon is here, Vincent, it means Albert, Victor. Right. Okay. Wow. When I see this, I know that you're together. So, guys, that simply means that we are together. Now, if you look at, for example, this pair, let me show you how I got this setup. Not only Shanga, I gave this setup. It was on the other day at 9. So, when you want to look at something skinny, let me show you the structure. Yangalia vizuri sana. When price was coming back, this is a flip. This is a failed kind of liquidity engineering. That's why it's a flip. There's this statement that you normally say that any failed bullish setup is the best bearish setup, and any failed bearish setup will always give you the best bullish setup. So that's why I had this exact liquidity engineering here that failed, which became a flip. That's why when the market came, ilikuja kama imetap ikafanya nini ikaenda. I was just targeting this high, and if you look at what happened, my stop loss actually could have been 15 pips, but because of a better space for the market to breathe, I gave it 19 pips. So what happened, the market came tapped and then it delivered over 200 and actually 210, but my target was around this. So that was a clean RR of 1 to 10. So if you are risking even 1% of your prop farm account, that could have given you some good money. If you're risking 1%, you could have made 10% of your capital. Kama uko na account 100,000, that could have been 10K USD. You could have been paid $8,000 as 80%. If you just make these things simple, you don't need to struggle. Trade the last week mbili zilikuwa enough kupea pesa inaweza kusustain for some time. Anyway, so on EURJPY, that's how I actually got that setup because it is just I got my entry based on this structure here on 4 hours. This structure, I got my entry based on this structure, and then when the market came up, went. So guys, expect this. I'm going to give you guys. I'll try all my best to give out the best setups in this week. Need to get few setups to tengeneze pesa. So for EURJPY, I still believe, or I still expect to see once price gives me a structure. Of course, unajua, if you're anticipating to buy from this zone, then we need to see a confirmation from the upside. So there's a thing that we need to understand. As much as price in a push upward, we need to find a reason that will get us down here before we go up. So is there anyone who has a question on EURJPY before you go to another pair? Anyone who has a question on EURJPY before I go to another pair, or maybe a different opinion, or rather different, or a reaction on the same before I go to other pairs like DJ, then I'll talk about gold. Okay, no one. So that is on EURJPY. Let us look at GJ. Then I'll be looking at gold. GJ, wow. So GJ, number one, um, you see these two red lights, this one and this one, it represents my monthly area of liquidity. All right. Then 184.87, it's my area of interest plotted from weekly time frame, which gives me a type of liquidity here, which is think type 5. So that's what I'm anticipating. Probably once price will come here, I'll be interested to look for long-term buys to push me all the way up. Right? But now, if you look at what you have on the screens, looking at the recent price action that we have on based on how last week closed, we have uh, we have a structure. We have a structure that is uh, looking like a consolidation. We have a structure that is looking like a consolidation. It's not that clear. Monthly time frame. I'm talking about this particular area. I'm talking about this particular area. Structure that looks like a consolidation, but it's pushing downwards. That is on the monthly time frame. But the major area of interest is upper Jew because we have a type of liquidity. This is not structure. It is not structure wise or formation wise. It's based on a liquidity type. These are type one liquidity, and then huku chini tuko na hii area, but there's some sort of consumption. That's why I might not be really interested to come all the way huku chini. So that's why I'm interested na huku juu na hiyo area ya 184 hapa, because there's something that I saw on the daily time frame and also on the weekly time frame. So I'm still anticipating probably price to come down here, then I'll be pushing all the way up. Right now, if I come to the 4 hours chart, come to the 4 hours chart, start with the daily time frame and then go to the 4. So on the daily time frame, the structure shows us, guys, everything price our market, what gives us direction or gives us ideas on what we are looking for is the structure of the market. So if you look at what we have, there was some sort of consolidation here, and then price formed some type of liquidity. This is what we call type 3. Then we have a type of liquidity again, which is a type 1 liquidity. When I'm talking of type 1 liquidity, it's more of like a bullish or bearish engulfing candlestick. But the consideration in terms of liquidity, what you look into, if price forms a structure like, let's say this is a candlestick that is bullish, right? Sorry, this is a bearish candlestick. Then we come and have a bullish candlestick, something like this. On a bullish candlestick, I must see the wick of the bullish candlestick must react below the wick of the bullish, the bearish candlestick, and the body and the wick of the bearish candlestick must close inside that one. You understand? Yeah. You understand? So lazima iform kitu kama hiyo, and then body lazima close above. So kama hii ndio we call this type 1 of liquidity. It's a type of liquidity. Now, ukiangalia vizuri sana kwa daily time frame, ukiangalia kwa daily time frame, hii zone hapa chini, I'm talking about this particular area. We have a type of liquidity. Then huku juu, we had this. I see this area. It was a liquidity. Price came, did the consumption, and then considering this as the highest point, what has happened? There's this thing that says that when the market reacts on a certain zone several times, it makes that price level to become weaker. So there's a likelihood of bulls breaking this zone to continue pushing up. And if price will be pushing up, we are looking at the next area of liquidity. And when we talk of the next area of liquidity, number one, I have this structure, the daily time frame, as a continuational shift, but now based on the current price action, nikiangalia hii structure hapa imekuwa consumed, so the next area niko nayo ni hapa yenye ijakuwa fully consumed. So if price breaks this area, market might be coming inside huku ndio maybe endelea kusell. If not so, hold on. The next area of interest in terms of liquidity from the daily time frame will be in this particular structure Mike hapa juu. Understand? This structure. Because ukiangalia huku juu before price sell ilikuja ikaconsume hii na ikafanya the engineering up on lower time frame ndio ikateremka. So ndio structure yenye bado price hajakuja mitigate. So kama ulikuwa umeingilia buys huku chini na umeshikilia trade yako, you need to consider what happens here. If this on because nikiangalia venye candlestick zimeclose, it's telling me there's a high chance, there's a likelihood we might break and come to consume this area before maybe we sell now massively. Guys, the thing is, I always say be flexible, don't be rigid. Just trade based on what you see and what the market tells you. You might have a prediction or you might have a projection, and then the other time things changes. So you don't need to be fixated. You don't need to you need to be very flexible. So from the daily perspective, I have this, as I said, I have this type of liquidity. And then if I consider this, nikiangalia vizuri sana hapa ni kama, let me see, let me just confirm. Okay. I can see body closure above that area, but no body closure above this. So if I check here, yes. So E zone, E zone, very significant. E zone ya hapa juu ni very significant sana. So where we are, there are two possibilities of what I'm anticipating. Me, I will react. Initially, this was my very nice area of selling. So I might see more sales to the downside, coming all the way to 184. Where we are, there's this possibility. Price might react from here. Ikuje ndio tuanze sasa kuchora, tuanze kuenda juu zaidi. But we need to observe. Wakati market itafunguka hii wiki, now that we also have FOMC, if price will break this zone, of course on the daily time frame, tukuwe na some momentum candlestick. Sasa tutakuwa tunaendelea kutafuta more bullish orders or rather setups, but as much as we'll be buying, we'll be focusing on price coming to this formation or this structure for liquidity consumption. Of course, if you refine on the lower time frame, you'll see a lot of things. So kama price ita break hii area, sure, if price will break this area, this structure is kama bulls watakuwa stronger for this coming week, then I'll be buying all the way to this, and then nikifika hapa nitafute reasons za kufanya nini za kunileta huku chini. Are we guys together? But if the market doesn't give me clarity and confirmation to keep on pushing up, and then the price decides to sell here, if it sells, my first target will be around this area, my second target will be area. I might anticipate some push to the upside. That's what I'm seeing on, or that is my opinion on DJ. But I'll do much refinement about the same tomorrow during the London session as I share the setups on Discord. Now, that is on GJ. Another pair. Which other pair that you guys want us to look into? Can look at gold finally. The time. I have 3 minutes to go, so you can look at gold. So for gold, right now, since gold was started being traded in the financial market, last week is the time that the 3,000 level was 3,000 level was noticed the other week. That is the highest price since gold was started being traded in the financial market. Now, if you look at where we are, it's so for me, I'll say this right now, if you're trading gold, just delete everything. And if you look at gold even on the weekly time frame, these are areas of liquidity. You see, in area liquidity a weekly time frame, these are weekly structure, and then price has also printed other structure here, which we need to give it some attention. See this, price has also printed another structure. I tell you guys, every time the market will always try to form an area of liquidity will come for it, and then it will give it enough momentum to keep pushing up. So if you go back to monthly time frame, it's more of like a week overlap zone, more of like a week overlap zone in like a monthly time frame. So it's more of like over weekly overlap. Sorry, I mean monthly monthly week overlap, which is seen as a structure on the day on the weekly time frame. I go to the daily time frame, we now get further information of what is happening. So hizo yote ni area of liquidity. Hizo yote ni area of liquidity. Most of the time you guys see me doing something like this. But I'm market from it, sorry. The market from it. Sorry. So inakuwa kama area of liquidity. So we expect probably price to do something, come inside, and then it continue pushing up. So that is exactly what you can see here on gold. If you look at gold, we have the daily time frame. Tuko na hii area ya liquid. Don't trade with imagination. Don't trade with, just look at the structure, understand what is happening, follow the simple guidelines of liquidity, and you'll be able to be on another level. So what I'm talking about is ukiangalia kwa daily time frame as a now number one, I put my chart in this manner. The daily time frame, I have these as a flip. Let me show you. Kwanza, area ya kwanza tunafaa to consider ni hapa. See, we need to consider this area. So from here, from this zone, hold on. So we need to consider this area for more buys. This is our first area we need to consider for more buys. Why? This is a liquidity flip on 4 hours. If you go to the daily time frame, yes, that is a liquidity flip, which is backed up with an overlap, which is an overlap which is near the daily open for Thursday candlestick. I think that was Thursday opening price. Understand? So for me, if I'll buy, then my first consideration of buys for gold will be at this area. All right, around 29.33, and that is actually a zone that we had crazy momentum for last week. That's a zone that price formed some crazy momentum after, of course, forming some liquidations. You see, here and consumed the zone here. So if price doesn't really give us nice entry here, this will be another consideration, an area we need to focus on buying. So if if I need to, when you're using higher time frames, sometimes you might not see everything that is on there's some hidden information that you can't see on higher time frame, like liquidity, hidden liquidity. So that's why it's very important you always go to lower time frame. So if I come to H1, rather 1 hour time frame, you can see this area before price pushed up, you will see a slight push to the downside coming for this and market, but it didn't fully consume this. So kumaanisha hii area pia ni important. So my areas of buying interest za kubuy sana ni kama price haitakuja huku, the first area I'll be considering to look for more buys for gold will be I'll give the price levels. But remember, once the market opens, I'll be able to will give out much information. So tutakuwa na consider kubaya kutoka kwa hii blue line. 29.40 will be my area of interest ya kutafuta buys. And if you've seen what I showed you guys, ukiangalia hapa kuna structure yenye iko kwa 3 hours, tukienda kwa 2 hours. Sometimes it's good to use the mirror time frame to understand the liquidation. Nikiangalia liquidation hapa, ili form liquidation ikarudi ika-consume na ikaenda ikarudi. So into the last area. So kama market itarudi 29.40, for me it's a very important zone that I need to really look at, and then ndio niweze kufanya nini, ni buy, because pia hapo kuna type 3 of liquidity. So if you want to look for cells that will take you here, if you're using 4 hours time frame as your constant time frame, you'll need to use 30 minutes to consider structures that will give you cells all the way to the downside. If you look at what we have right now, for example, upper Jew, I can see we have a type 5 liquidity, the highest price level. The market tried to come that, formed another structure, and then dropped. If you look at this candlestick, so hii market ikifunguka inaweza rudi hapa. Let me show you. It's either itarudi mpaka hapa and then ikuwe inakuja huku chini, ama irudi mpaka huku juu alafu iteremuke. Are we guys together? Are we following? Wakati itakuja huku ndio tutakuwa interested kufanya nini? Kuendelea kubuy. There's a likelihood of our next target will be around 3,740. I think I'll give those price levels tomorrow. Around 3,700 and something. Ndio bado tunaelekea kwa gold. So, I think up to that point, is there anyone who has a question about the pairs that I've talked about? Maybe you have a different opinion. I want to listen to that before we end our meeting this evening. Omar, I'll see your mic is muted. You want to say something? Timothy, can as well see your mic is unmuted. Yes, Timothy? All right, this is what I'll say, guys. Silence means a lot of things, but this is what I'm going to say. If you've listened to what I said about gold,
uko unanisikia?
sikuwa nakusikia. Yes, Timothy.
Okay, sasa hebu unaona hapo kwa 4 hours nilikuwa nimeona
Uh-huh.
nilikuwa naona imeform hiyo break of structure, alafu ukiangalia huku mwisho mwisho
Yes.
there is this is it a shift ama nika inside formation aka hapa mwisho kabisa
Unasema
from
hii,
your right
hold on.
yeah.
Are you talking about this or this one? One or two?
Okay, naongelea kuhusu aka nika shift hapo pale umeweka tu kasa, ukirudi nyuma yes hapo.
Yeah, that is a shift with an inside formation. But now, I told you, whenever you see a flip zone and you see anything else, go for the flip first. If the flip zone fails, you go for the next option, which is this formation. Because we can market imeform shift. These are continuational shifts. These are continuational shift points, which leaves us with inside formation. And anytime you see inside formation, those are strong areas of liquidity that you need to focus on. And of course, for you to get nice risk to reward ratio, you go to lower time frame, do a refinement, get your entries based on liquidity engineering. You understand the different types of liquidity engineering we have. We have normal, reactive, and inducement, and then can get your entry there. Or rather, you can, if you can't see any type of liquidity engineering, you can use types of liquidity. It could be type 1 as a form of order block or bullish engulfing candlestick, or type 2 or type 3. The best entry types of liquidity I use is 1, 2, and 3, and sometimes 5. But the best that I've back tested is 1, 2, and 3. Whenever you don't have liquidity engineering as a confirmation for entry. Now, so for gold, hizo ndio zones mimi naangalia. So market ikifunguka huku juu, now that we are at the highest or the near the earth price, kenye nitafanya, if I look at the daily time frame, I can't see anything. So if I try to come lower to 4 hours, I will identify this area. I'll identify this area as my highest point, but I can't see. And then there's an overlap here, na price imekuja ndani, so kuna hii imbalance imewacha. So I anticipate or I expect price to come inside huku chini, ndio fanya nini, maybe endelea buy. So kama kuna hiyo inamaanisha with the time frame alignment, you really guys don't understand that the best time frame to consider ya kukupea clarity ni 30 minutes. Ukiangalia 30 minutes structure, hii structure vizuri sana. Those guys who understand the aspect of, if you understand market structure very well. Hapa juu hii ni type ya liquidity. Acha ni chore vizuri. This is a type. is a type of liquidity. Hii ni type 5 hapa juu, wengine watasema ni order block. Hiyo ni type 5. Then kwa hiyo type 5 chini yake kuna some sort of ranging. Kwa hiyo ranging pia tuko na a type 5 again, but price came back, tapped it, went. So which tells me if I use the 30 minutes, then this acts as my shift point. See this? This will act as my shift point. Which candlestick was that? Yes, this will act as my shift point, but is it really? Do I have body closure? Okay, hold on. I need to be keen on that because hiyo ndio makosa sitaki kufanya. Validation, invalidation. Okay. But sometimes I advise us, let's just focus on trading based on the direction of the trend and against the trend. Counter trends are not guaranteed chances of you being taken out unless you're scalping. So hapa ndo naona kuna shift point yangu. So kama niko na shift point yangu hapa, hii ni ya kufacilitate. You need to understand what is happening. Hii ndio liquidation. So na expect probably price ikifanya nini? Ikirudi kama market ikifunguka ifanye kitu kama ikuje kwa hii area. Alafu tufanye nini? Tuanze kufanya nini? Kuteremka hadi huko chini. Sorry, hold on. Tukuje huku chini. Sorry, hold on. Expect price to come down there. Hold on. Ikuje huku, market ikifunguka, maybe ikuje huku, inaweza amua hata react ikiendanga, but whenever you see a shift and there's a formation left, price will always go for it. And then market ikuje huku, ndio tuendelea kufanya nini? Kwenda. So sometimes it's just common sense and logic, just understanding what is happening. All right. So that's what I have on gold. I don't think if I have much. So guys, I want to make these highlights. Tomorrow is on a Monday. Benji is here. I can see triple CMC. That is Brent. I can also see let me see Brent, Benji. I know there are members of Benji's community who are here, members of Brent's community who are here. So for me, from tomorrow, I'm starting my master class at 8. We'll be running for the next 1 month. And we'll be embarking to our daily. The other week we had a lot of engagement. I could not really focus. So from tomorrow, we'll be having our sessions on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Zile za asubuhi za kufanya live breakdown, whereby we look at intraday opportunities. Once we get opportunities, we'll share them in the groups and also the Discord server so that guys can take the trades. Then later in the evening, those guys are in the master hybrid. The group is really the hybrid master class. I'm going to run 30 days, 14 modules. Going to be one of the best class that I'll be doing this year, and I'll be done until October. So after that class, I'll be done with my classes. October, and then any other person who will be interested in classes. So you guys get ready for greatness, because it's going to be the best of the best. It's going to be a class. Once you're done, I'll be doing assessment at an individual level, and later on I'll be getting you guys ready for the market in terms of trading your personal accounts, and also I'll be introducing you to firms. The end goal is to ensure that each one of us is growing and people can be able to make money and scale up. So I talked to Benji. Is in a position that he can't speak, so maybe he'll be talking to you guys from his community tomorrow during the morning session. So I think this is the end of our session this evening. Be reminded, we'll be using the same link. Our Zoom is paid. That's why we didn't have a break. Our Zoom session is paid for. So make sure tomorrow, early in the morning, I'll be up for the London breakdown. I'll share the setups together with the rest of the members of the community. Then we'll be able to trade together. Make sure you don't miss any opportunity. Make sure you're alert. And make sure you are applying risk management, and be cautious and don't be greedy. So the theme of this week is only quality setups, few quality setups, and good risk management. Sawa sawa. So you guys have a lovely night. Have a blessed week ahead. I'm going to share these recording on YouTube. You can go and watch it. I'll share the link. You can go and watch it later on and be able to learn from that. So make sure we are active. Make sure you are learning every day. In case you have any issue, always engage in those groups. So thank you so much. Looking forward to a very beautiful week ahead of us. Thank you so much.